Hi everyone, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface. Ubisoft are in trouble for this financial year, and I couldn't be happier if I tried. Why? Is it because I'm just a horrible person? No, not really, because Ubisoft, in my eyes, have been desperately trying to compete immorally with the major companies out there. Your EAs, your Activisions, and we'll definitely put your Bethesdas on there now, as a company that once more has taken its eye off of the customer and just firmly entrenched it on a big pile of cash. So, they had to make some significant adjustments to their financials as they realised this year is a massive flop. So what are the implications of this? I'll go through that. And also, it shines a beacon on something Ubisoft said earlier in the year, which might have been a big fat fib, which has come back to bite them severely in the backside. So first and foremost, this came out a couple of days ago, but obviously most of us have been busy with the whole Fallout 76 and Blizzard stuff happening over recent times, so it sort of slipped through. But this was from Paris on Thursday. Today, Ubisoft is updating its financial targets and games release schedule for fiscal 2019 to 2020, and communicating its initial targets for fiscal 2020 to 2021. Now, look at the adjustment. It is absolutely colossal. It's adjusting its previous of 2.185 billion euros down to 1.45. Yes. So they're getting rid of approximately 700 million euros from their target, which is ridiculous. That's not a small adjustment, that is a colossal adjustment, and it's an adjustment which has been affected by their share price, where it took a huge plunge in Paris. Now, one of the reasons, or the reason, that they are stating that they are having to readjust their financials is because of underperformance of their titles this year. The Division 2 and also Breakpoint. And so now they have delayed all of their titles out of this fiscal year. So there was going to be the potential to come before the end of March for Rainbow Six Quarantine, which I've got to say, wasn't impressed with when I saw that at all. Watchdog Legion, which is the UK one, which I fear is going to be a microtransaction dump, even if I do like it conceptually, and I'll get onto that later as well. And then Gods and Monsters as well. That has also been pushed into the 2020-2021 financials. That's launch as a launch window. But a couple of big titles which people have been looking forward to for a while, one particularly which has been on a seemingly constant delay, which is Skull and Bones, has now been removed from the 2020 to 2021 financial release to 2021, which is their pirate multiplayer game, which has been shown off at E3 a couple of times. So that game is seemingly getting perpetually delayed. And we also know, of course, that Beyond Good and Evil 2 is in development. But what's going to happen to that now? Well, I mean, just through common sense, it seems that at best will fall into 2020-2021 financials, kind of likely move into 2021-2022 financials. So that game could be a significant ways off. So let's just hear from Yves, the greedy Frenchman himself, because I've got, like I said, I've got no sympathy for Ubisoft at all, not one jot. And I like the way he tries to spin this disappointment to the shareholders, to the people who are, you know, wanting the cashies, because I've got my own retort to Yves, which I'll go through. So Yves Guillemot, co-founder and chief exec of Ubisoft, over the past few years, we've delivered many high-quality titles, yada, 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 self-promote, that's all subjective. However, we have not capitalised on the potential of our latest 2 AAA releases. For Ghost Recon Breakpoint, while the game's quality appeared on track, based on E3, I thought it... Well, I'll go into that in a moment. Gamescom previews and our latest internal playtests, critical reception and sales during the game's first weeks were very disappointing. We have done with past, as we've done with past titles, we will continue to support the game and listen to the community in order to deliver the necessary improvements. Now, I had 2 major issues. Personally, this is my own subjective opinion. It could be different from yours. I had 2 major issues when it came to Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Number 1, it looked generic and basic as hell. It looked like another sandbox, open world, meh. That's what it looked like to me. I had no interest in Wildlands after I played Wildlands demo, and it just looked like a continuation of that, a generic continuation. And then secondly, and I'll go through what Yves thinks himself soon. Secondly, we had this. And as soon as I saw this, if I had any interest in the game, which I'm being totally honest with you, very lukewarm on anyway, I would not touch this with a freaking barge pole, because all that you can see here is DLC, when I say DLC, microtransactions that were in the game from day one. A AAA title, and let's just be perfectly honest with you, I'm EA, Activision, Bethesda, Ubisoft, they're not AAA companies. They call themselves AAA companies, they're not. Do you know what they are? They're bargain basement shitholes. This is what they truly are. They are the Mr. Buy-Right of the games industry, who think they're AAA because they have bucks behind them. But the games that they produce are tat, more often than not. Generic, regurgitated tat. All designed and set up just to sell you digital shite. The true AAA games companies are your Obsidians, your CD Projekt Reds, your companies that have a heart with the games that they create. The companies who actually want to create an excellent product for the players, for the gamers, and then hope, I mean it will, but hope that the quality of the product will shine through with the sales. They don't look to rip people off. They don't look to trap them. They don't look to throw out annual franchises, and annual franchises are a massive problem here, what we're going to go into. A huge problem. No, they look to spend their time on creating a quality product for people to love, and then get rewarded with plenty of profit for that. But of course, with your Ubisofts and your Activisions and your EAs and your Bethesdas, it's not sufficient to make good profit. You have to make every single cent. You have to squeeze the pot dry until no more dollars can fall out. And that is to the detriment of the games industry. It's a short-term plan which gets them gains, but inevitably, it will fall through, because as you do with your annual franchise rubbish, it's just the same thing in another year. There's no innovation, there's no development, there's nothing which distinguishes itself, and Ubisoft are the biggest offender here. My God, I've gone on a rant. But Ubisoft are the biggest offender at putting out the same game all the time. regardless of franchise, regardless of setting, regardless of character, every game for Ubisoft feels the bloody same. And I've said it time and time again. And then you wonder why sales fall. The second game, which he's not mentioning, which he lied about earlier in the year, is The Division 2. The Division 2 is the best-selling game of 2019. Claim Ubisoft. However, The Division 2 sales came out as massively disappointing. It was the failure of The Division 2 as well as Breakpoint that has led to this disastrous turn for Ubisoft, and the fact that they've now got to delay all of their titles to push it into another financial quarter to try and make it look like they're making bucks because they're now loading it up instead of letting it naturally release. Because it's not when a game's ready, it's when it fits into their own financial quarters now, or their financial years. Oh, well, we don't care if this game is ready to go and it feels as if there's plenty there. It feels innovative and different and something which will wow people. No, it's right. That game slots into this financial quarter. That game slots into this financial year, and the rest be damned by the looks of it. And I say by the looks of it because I'm looking at the quality of the titles. Now, whereas I did purchase The Division 2 because one of my friends wanted to play it with me, I gotta say, for the most part, I thought it was alright. But when I say I thought it was alright, that's not high praise, because I was easily pulled off it by other titles. I never even got to top level in Division 2. It felt like The Division, but a little bit better in as much as... And again, that's not high praise because the Division was so poor when it first came out. They spent years and years trying to rectify it to get it to a decent state. So when the Division came out, when the Division 2 came out, it felt like a decent Division. But by then, there were other things that, again, pulled my interest. There wasn't anything there to hold me. It didn't feel special. It's just like, alright, it's alright. And then Breakpoint, as I mentioned. This is where Yves thinks Breakpoint didn't quite work. First, it's harder to generate interest for a sequel to a live multiplayer game when prior iterations benefited from years of optimization. Consequently, we need to make sure there is more time between iteration of live games. Annual franchises burn people out! There are some annual franchises which keep on going regardless. I mean, I think they're bloody stupid, the people that buy them. But they keep on going, your Maddens and your FIFAs. But even that, those titles are seeing fatigue now because they have their updated rosters. And these people are just, I've got to get my updated roster for the new year. I've got to get my transfer in the new year, you know. Ronaldo's now in Juventus. He's in bloody Real Madrid in my version. Gotta change it. Because of those weirdos. But Assassin's Creed, that was failing miserably. Because it was just chucking out crap version after crap version. And they were becoming broken and more broken. Because it was just a desperate attempt to get it out on an annual basis. An annual churn. And here we are, the AAA gaming industry. And what does it do for the most part? Annual frickin' franchises. Keep it churning, keep it churning, keep it churning. Innovation? No. Keep it churning, keep it churning. Second, our strategy of introducing gameplay innovations in our games has had a very positive impact on our brands. Really? Doesn't appear to be. Certainly didn't appear to be on The Division 2. Certainly didn't appear to be on Breakpoint either. However, there's a caveat. To win over players, these innovations need to be perfectly implemented in order to offer an optimal experience. This has not yet been sufficient with the case with Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Again, so what he's trying to say, he's beating around the bush. It's the same shit over again. Let's just cut the bullshit, Yves. Yeah? Let's just cut to the chase. Annual franchise crap. Always the same. Let's move on to the third. Finally, Ghost Recon Breakpoint did not come in with enough differentiation factors, which prevented the game's intrinsic qualities from standing out. It was generic. It was generic. And I tell you what, when you've got all this shit, pages and pages of microtransaction shite tagged on top of it, very coincidentally, you don't think this is a problem. Stroketh my chin. Stroketh it hard. So that's his thoughts on why things underperformed. I think I've been pretty clear when I've given mine. I know this has essentially been 15 minutes of rant, but I've got no sympathy for Ubisoft whatsoever. None. And like I say, I fear for Watch Dogs Legion, because I think it's going to come out like this. A AAA, you want full whack price. You want $60, 50 British pounds, 50 euros, 80,000 Canadian, $1 million Australian dollar for this. And then you pack it full of shite. Pay us money, pay us money. You've just given us a WOD, but fuck you, we want more. That money you paid us was the entrance fee into the nightclub. Now you got to pay for the drinks as well. Piss off. Piss right off. This, I see Watch Dogs Legion with this. I'm out. Not touching. I'm out. I see Beyond Good and Evil 2 like this. I'm out. I see Skull and Bones like this. I'm out. I'm out of anything that is covered in your slime, filth, microtransaction crap when I'm paying full whack for a game. Get out of it, Yves. You're a greedy, greedy man. With a greedy company that wants desperately to be the next EA, Activision, Bethesda. Get up to that level of scummery. You got no sympathy from me. None whatsoever. Long may your stock price fall. So I hope you enjoyed the vid. It's quite animated for a Saturday. If you did, do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel. I think I exercised a few demons today. Follow me on social media and Twitch for live streaming. Links there in the description box down below. And I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care. Bye for now.